digital object identifiers are persistent electronic references to published objects. You have them, you encounter them if you have a journal paper you want to look at, but they're also useful for data, objects, videos, or pretty much anything that can be parked electronically on the internet. In our case, they enable follow-on research, help us with verifying scientific reproducibility, or I should say the community, and provide a record of data usage for us for the scientific impact of the science mission. For those of you who have JWST funding from NASA, you're actually obligated to include in published papers a DOI, which points to a specific data set in MAST that you actually analyzed. We encourage everyone else who uses JWST data to do the same thing. So really, I'm going to show you the DOI portal in this, but basically once you create the DOI, and what happens really behind the scenes is that we subscribe to it, MAST subscribes to a service on the back end, and we can mint DOIs, and we pay some amount for a service for that, but you can create one. And then once you've got it, you can add the DOI to your manuscript, which I'll show you here in a second, and also enter the DOI during the article submission, which is true at least for AAS journals. So once you've got the DOI, which is just a short text string, in the data analysis section, here's an example. In the data analysis section of your paper, you might say for all the JWST data used in this paper, you can find it at MAST, and here's the hyperlink in LaTeX form. In the acknowledgments, you might say a very similar thing. These hash marks here are just meant to be the DOI specific string that you're going to get. This 10.17.909 is just the institution part of the DOI, which MAST has. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to show you the interface to it. There are also some general links here on basics of DOIs. We've got some pre-canned DOIs for other missions. We've got the portal and, of course, step-by-step instructions. The DOIs can only be created, at least for users, can only be created through the MAST portal at present, although we're working on an enhancement to that. And there's also a video tutorial. DOI information, we explain something about it here on the archive website. What's a DOI, how to get one, and what you're supposed to do with it. And here's another link to the tutorial. And here's the interface. So it's very simple. You're going to need to log in because we need to know who creates the DOI so we can associate it with the person. Let's just pick a random JWST identifier, which turns out to be one I've worked with recently. So you can search by program ID, but of course you can also search by object name or position. You've got these observation IDs, which Thomas talked about at great length. But basically, you need to do a search in the portal for objects. And in this case, we're not going to be, it's not relevant to search for specific files. All of these are the highest level products. They're the big O observations that we were talking about earlier. And so this is what you would add to the DOI basket. So if you want to refer to every instance, this has 18 observations, which it turns out connects to an awful lot of files. Implicitly, you're creating a DOI which points to all of those files. So don't worry that it just seems to be pointing to the level 3 files. So you can select one of them, or suppose you know that one observation is bad, maybe the guiding failed or something, and you don't want to include that. We'll include all of these by clicking this little icon here for adding DOIs to the DOI basket. So let's take a look at what's in the basket. Again, you've got the opportunity to do a little bit more fine-tuning of what you want to select. Suppose we want to select all of them. You have to select something, but once you've selected it, I can see my screen is not, there we go. Then you have the option to create a DOI. There's also an option for updating a DOI, which I can press because I have special privileges in MAST, because I work there. But if you create a DOI and you realize there's some kind of mistake, just send us an email and we can help fix it. But suppose we want to create a DOI. So we enter some metadata. Here's the title. It's helpful to give a title that lets the user know that in fact they've arrived at the right place. And then I'll just say, and then we just can create the DOI. Now I'm going to press it. I don't recommend creating them trivially. It's not like they're that expensive. It's just, it means that there's a lot more entries in our database that we don't particularly want to keep track of. You would just click DOI, and I'm going to demonstrate this just for your information. So here's the DOI. We just created this one. This is what you would, well, let's see if I can highlight it all. So this is what you can use for entering data for your paper. And this is kind of handy right here. Suppose that you've got the DOI, what are users going to see? They're going to see that. This is why you want the title to be descriptive and the description of the data to be more helpful than what I just did. That's really all it amounts to. There's just an OK, you click that. So now you've got your DOI, and you can go ahead and finish the rest of your paper and submit.